Hello my loves, thank you for joining me on another video. My name is Annie and I post solved, unsolved and missing persons cases here on my channel. If you enjoy this type of content, you're welcome. Please consider subscribing to my channel. For today's case, we are in Florida, USA. Today's case is one of those that sheds light on what goes on behind the closed doors of some of these so-called pastors and prophets. This case involves domestic violence situation, so if this is a topic that affects you negatively, you might have to skip this one. This is the case of Barbara Tommey Ofori. Barbara Tommey was only 11 years old when her family moved to the United States in search for better opportunities. Originally from Ghana, West Africa, the family settled in Florida. Years passed by and little Barbara is now an adult. I couldn't get the names of her entire family members, but she had a big brother called Kweku Perry, a sister Elizabeth Sophia, and another sister Jennifer. Barbara was very well brought up by her very African parents. She loved God, she was very peaceful and very beautiful too. Everyone who knew her described her as an epitome of grace. She just had this happy demeanor about her. That aura that she carried was just very, very contagious, you know. If you were around her, you will always be happy. Barbara was also very smart. She went to and graduated from the University of Florida in 2015 with a bachelor's degree in finance. At this time, she was still super young. I think she was about 22 years old or thereabout. It was about this time Barbara met Sylvester Ofori. The two met at Sylvester's church in Florida. Remember how I had said earlier that Barbara loved God? She was a church girl, and so on one of these occasions when she went to church, she met Sylvester. So let me tell you a little bit about this man, Sylvester Ofori. He was also a Ghanaian who was born on the 14th of May, 1985. I am not sure when he got into the United States, but he, like Barbara, lived in Florida. He was a pastor of a local church called the Floodgates of Heaven International Ministries. According to his profile on his website, Sylvester Ofori is a man of God that flows in the gifts of the Holy Spirit. He has Christ-like powers and a knack for interpreting dreams. He has healed the sick, cast out demons, and battled witchcraft. There were people who knew this man as a powerful international prophet of God. In fact, he had quite a bit of following on social media, you know, over 60,000 at some point, I'm not sure, but maybe like 60,000. He was a self-proclaimed prophet and was said to be worth about $5 million US, I think.
Somebody, look at somebody say, I cannot die. Say, I cannot die. Say, I will live to declare.
So at the time Barbara joined Sylvester's church, she was in her early 20s and she was in a relationship with another fine gentleman. She started off working at the Sunday school section. Then it was there that she caught attention of Sylvester. Mind you, she was in a relationship, like I said before, but Pastor Ofori came to her with some sort of prophecy about her relationship. He tells her, that's Barbara, that she wasn't meant to be in that relationship that she was in, that God said they were meant to be with each other as man and wife. He managed to convince Barbara to leave her man, and before long they started dating. To the outside world, they were very much in love with each other, and not too long into their relationship, Pastor Sylvester asked the then 22-year-old naive Barbara to marry him. She was in love and she wanted to be with Sylvester, so she went to her family to tell them the news, but her family were not in support of the idea of these two getting married. For starters, they felt like Barbara was too young, and they also felt like Sylvester wasn't just the right man for her. They did what they could to convince her and let her see why they feel he was no good for her, but she was adamant Sylvester was the right man for her. On the other hand, Sylvester's very own family as well were not in support of him getting married to Barbara. For the most part, theirs was a cultural thing. They wanted him to marry someone from their own part of Ghana. It's just like in Nigeria where parents will kick against the marriage because, oh, she's from Yoruba, oh, she's Igbo, oh, she's Idoma, oh, she's Steve, you know what I mean? The two parties involved insisted they wanted to get married, and since they both lived in the United States, whatever cultural difference it was back in Ghana would not affect them. So on the 19th of September 2015, Sylvester and Barbara had a huge wedding. Their wedding day was elaborate. Her family was there, his family was there. It was in fact a big event, and Barbara, she looked very beautiful and very happy. Sylvester was one who already showered his woman with lots of praises even before this day, so I presume he was happy on this day too. He is more difficult to read just judging from their pictures. He had made this post much earlier about Barbara. He wrote, "From the first time we met, I knew there was something very wonderful and unique about you. Something that reached out and drew me to you completely. You've been a trusted friend, a wise advisor, and a blessing from God. You're the love of my life. Thank you for being everything that God knew I needed." So after their wedding, they both settled into their home at Riley Street in Florida. Barbara, as a new wife, had a lot to juggle. For starters, she began to serve as the First Lady at the Floodgates of Heaven International Ministries, where her husband was a prophet and senior pastor. She would teach in Sunday school, and she would preach sometimes at the Coburn Avenue Orlando Church. At the time, she was trying to better herself by working on getting a master's degree in strategic communications and leadership at Maryville University. Some reports say she already had a master's degree in marketing at this point already. On top of that, she still had a regular job as an assistant manager at the Navy Federal Credit Union in Florida. You see, she had a lot going on. To the outside world, the Ofori's marriage was perfect. Barbara was a loving and smart wife. Sylvester was a successful preacher. They only showed how much they loved each other to the outside world. They were not showing what was happening inside. However, this wasn't the same picture of how things were at home. On the inside, Barbara was going through a lot for a marriage that was this young. It was almost like it was doomed from the beginning. But I'm thinking since she insisted on getting married to this man, she couldn't say nothing about what she was going through in her marriage to her family, or just maybe she thought it could be fixed. It will later come to light that the self-proclaimed prophet and preacher was abusing his wife all this time. Physically, mentally, emotionally, all of it. Then there was the cases of infidelity. He cheated on her with members of his congregation and beyond. And she said nothing to her family about all of this. They didn't know what was happening. There was just unexplainable things happening in this marriage. And court document shows that in 2016, Sylvester Ofori had been arrested by the police because he resisted arrest. Even though nothing was done and the charges were eventually dropped, what had brought the police to the pastor's house in the first place was because he had put his hands on his wife Barbara. And when the cops got there, Sylvester arrogantly tried to show himself. This was why he was taken into custody. No one even knew of this incident, if not for what would later happen in September of 2020. So for all the years they had been married, Barbara worked at a credit union. She was the primary breadwinner of the family, contrary to what a lot of people assumed. Mind you, they didn't have any kids yet. Sylvester was cheating and abusing her and living off her money. She was the owner of all the properties they had. Sylvester, he just wanted fame and power and riches, and in the process, he allegedly began to dabble in some things he shouldn't have been dabbling in, but I will get into all of that in a bit. By the year 2020, something in Barbara clicked. She was fed up. She was tired. All of a sudden, it dawned on her she had to leave. She couldn't continue in that toxic marriage anymore. So after one of their many arguments and Sylvester physically abusing her, she packed up and left for her mother's home. This should be in June or July of 2020. Sylvester was angry to the soul. He never thought that Barbara would one day have the guts to leave him. He thought he had her under his control permanently and he could do whatever he wanted with her and to her. So when she decided to divorce him, he took it as a blow to his ego. The audacity of her to want to divorce him. Then what about the money? The property? If they got divorced, that means he had nothing. The church wouldn't be able to pay for his lifestyle, so he tried to twist Barbara's arm to make her come back to him. But this time, she was wiser. She refused to see him or even take his calls, and this made him furious. It was a blow to his ego. How dare she? Fast forward to 3 months after she had moved some of her belongings to her mother's place from their shared apartment on Riley Street. She returned to their home on the afternoon of Sunday the 6th of September to get some documents she had left behind. She needed them for something important, but she didn't come alone. She knew whom she was dealing with, so she brought someone, a lady, along with her. I'm not sure if that was a friend or her sister. Some reports say it was her sister-in-law because her brother, Kweku Perry, came along too. So while at the house trying to get her stuff, things turned pretty ugly rather quickly. There was this video that was circulating online.
Call the cops.
Do you see what he just did? No, Barbara. No, Barbara, I'm tired of you. No, I'm tired of you now. No, absolutely not. Do you? I know that. I understand. I get it.
Can you calm down?
Harry, stop!
We are not having a fucking come down. I came in here and I told you sit back. I told you we are not here to argue with you. Why did you fucking attack her? Why did you attack her? Can you calm down? I'm not gonna come down because you started this. Here we go. You're gonna go to the other room and you're not gonna come out.
Don't do that, Barbara. What if you came here by yourself?
Isn't this the same sister that you fucked up? What did I fuck up about my sister? What did I fuck up about my sister?
Perry, what did I tell you? Let him go in the room. Perry.
Perry, leave him alone.
You should go. We don't need this right now.
Okay. All right. But you are the same person who supported me at the wedding, right?
I will support you at the wedding because you were fake. You were fake. You were lying.
Perry.
You were fake. You and everybody that follows you. You were fake. I supported you because I thought you were different.
So now you
are not like your family.
Support your sister.
Yes, I'm here to support
the
my
same sister.
And I'll
who
always
the pastor told you that she was a witch.
Which pastor?
Am I right?
Pastor. Name that pastor. Which pastor told me my sisters?
The same sisters.
Which pastor? Name the pastor. Is it you? You are a pastor. You.
Whoa.
You don't know whether you are confirmed or not. You are a pastor, my friend. Get the fuck out of here before I fuck you up. We didn't come here for you. We did not come here for you. Don't let me hurt you. Leave. We didn't come here for you. We came to get something.
Can I promise you something?
Promise me.
If I don't kill your sister, then me, I am fake.
You got the video, right?
Yeah, I got it.
Right, call the cops.
No, it's
No, call the cops, Jen. No.
Barbara, stop that.
Fania, you don't play with threats like this. Jen, I'm calling the cops. No, you don't play with threats. Please call the cops. It should escalate. He's threatening you in front of me. He said he's going to kill you. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for?
All right, just make sure it's there so we can go. If that's it, let's go. Let's just get the hell out of here.
Is it?
yeah.
Okay.
Make sure it's... Let's get out of here. We ain't coming here no more, Barbara. You lost all this.
You heard what he said?
Is there anything else you need to get? Barbara, we're done.
Whatever you want to get.
Yeah, we're done. Oh, you lost all this.
No, I'm gonna come back for it.
You're gonna come back for what? No, it's okay. It's okay, Barbara. It's another debt that can be paid off. Debt is debt. You cannot replace debt with life, and vice versa. It's gone. This ain't yours no more. Imagine if you come here by yourself.
Even with us over here, he still attacked you. Fabian, don't play with these things.
Why is this a joke
You
to
may
you?
not want to have him arrested, but you have to make a
don't want
police
it.
report. You have to have a police report for future sake. The police need to make a report.
No, I'm going to use this so you can get a restraining order.
Yeah.
You,
And make sure he's not coming in. Can you come look for my glasses, Fabian? Look for my glasses so I can make sure he's not coming in. If it fell over there.
So basically, it shows Barbara's brother restraining Sylvester. This was after Sylvester had choked Barbara simply because she didn't want to talk to him or give him attention while she was at the house to pick up the documents. As he attacked her, her big brother Perry came to her rescue. From that video, he was ready to beat the living daylight out of Sylvester. We could all see him pinning him to the floor inside the closet, but Barbara and the other person told him to let Sylvester go. He insisted on calling the cops, but Barbara, in all her kindness, could be heard clearly saying that she didn't want things to escalate. As Perry orders Sylvester out of the house so his sister can be safe to get what she came for, Sylvester clearly turns back, looks Perry in the face and says, quote, "If I don't kill your sister, then I'm a fake pastor," end quote. Perry took this threat to his sister seriously and asked that the police be called because he had threatened to end her. But Barbara declined. She practically begged her brother not to call the cops. So the next day, back at her mother's house, barely 2 hours after this incident, Sylvester calls up Perry, the brother, and tells him that he, Sylvester, has forgiven him for fighting him. Sounds weird, yeah? No one was asking for his forgiveness at this point. In fact, he should have been the one asking for their own forgiveness for what he had done to their sister. Perry, he was intuitive. He felt like this guy was acting strange. That call was weird. So again, he persuaded his sister Barbara to go to the police. This time, Barbara agreed, and she was going to lay a complaint the next day, but unfortunately, she never got the chance to lay that complaint. On the morning of 8 September 2020, Barbara wakes up, prepares for work from her mother's home where she had been staying all this while, drives to her job at the Federal Navy Credit Union, not knowing that her estranged husband was waiting for her at the parking lot of the building on the 4600 block of Gardens Park Boulevard. He sees her, but she doesn't see him at first. He makes an attempt to call her on her cell phone, but she ignores it, or maybe she didn't even hear it ring. He, staying out of sight, sees as she ignores his call. She then walks from her car in the parking lot to the building. It was just before 9 a.m. and at this point she noticed he was behind her. He calls her, but she kept walking on. All of this was captured on CCTV surveillance. It's not clear if, in that split moment, she knew that her life was in danger, but you could see the shock in her eyes as Sylvester moves closer to her. She hurriedly makes an attempt to get the door of the credit union open. She knocks for someone to open the door for her from the inside, but before someone could let her in, Sylvester, now just within a few feet of her, points a weapon at her and fires at her from behind. As the poor girl collapses to the ground, this man stands over her and puts in more rounds into her body. In total, it came to 7 shots. He then turns around, gets into his rented vehicle, I think it was a Dodge, and then he now drives back home like nothing had happened. There were eyewitnesses that saw all of this unfold. Sylvester didn't care that this was a woman he had once loved, neither did he care that it was in broad daylight. Meanwhile, the police were called and they arrived pretty quickly. Barbara was taken to the Orlando Regional Medical Center where she was pronounced DOA shortly after. At this point, the family was informed, and since this had happened outside an establishment, like I said earlier, it was all captured in surveillance. The police made it known to the public that they had a perpetrator on camera. As the sad news began to spread, Barbara's family, without a doubt, knew who was responsible for her demise, but they needed to see the footage to confirm who it was. The police showed them the footage and they confirmed the perpetrator was indeed Pastor or Prophet Sylvester Ofori, Barbara's estranged husband. The police made a public appeal for him to turn himself in, but no, he didn't. He chose to just stay back at the apartment he had once shared with Barbara on Riley Street. The SWAT team was sent over to that location and he was taken into custody without resistance on the night of September 8, 2020. He was taken to and booked in Orange County Jail, and at his first court appearance, he was charged with 1 count of first-degree murder with a firearm. He'll be looking at life imprisonment if found guilty. Barbara was only 27 years old when Sylvester, who was 35 at the time, ended her life. She had her whole life ahead of her. In the course of researching for this case, I came across and got blessed from her videos where she preached the gospel.
Arise, because until you stand on your feet and pray, arise for your marriage, arise for your children, arise for your family.
She was a good teacher. She was clearly passionate about the things of God. If only she had reported Sylvester to the authorities, maybe, just maybe, the story would have been different. Report says that she hesitated all these years because Sylvester was in the process of becoming an American citizen and she didn't want to be the one to be responsible for him being deported back to Ghana. She didn't want him to be deported back to Ghana on her own account. That was why she kept the abuse a secret from her family all this while. And as for Sylvester, it is speculated that he didn't want to lose the lifestyle that Barbara provided him, since she was actually the breadwinner, even though he was said to be worth $5 million US. I think that was just an overhype. Barbara was contributing the larger part of their income. He was just an angry man with a big ego who couldn't take rejection. A man who just wanted to be in control and panicked when he found himself losing control. That's just what it seems to be. At this point, I would like to say to you who is watching me right now, please leave when you have the chance. No relationship is worth your life. There is no need covering up for your abuser. Speak up for yourself because they will never change. So Barbara was buried on the 26th of September amidst tears and cries from her family, her friends and her loved ones. There was a lot of speculation and rumors that emerged when news of this case broke. I'll just point out some of it so you can get the context of what had been happening all this while that people didn't even know about. For instance, it was said that Prophet Sylvester, apart from having a relationship with the females in his congregation, he was also dabbling into some shady, weird, spiritual and dark stuff that a man of God should not be involved with. He had at one point traveled to his home country of Ghana to meet with someone who would give him powers. You know what I mean? Powers to perform miracles like majority of so-called men of God are doing these days. Barbara wanted no parts of that situation at all. There were other cryptic posts he had made about snakes and how they bite no matter how much you pray for them. It makes one to wonder what his state of mind was at this time. Clearly, this guy has been unraveling over the years. I mean, with his sudden quest for power and control and drunkenness, challenging the scriptures, saying mistakes had been made in it, and arguing on the pulpit, no one, including his spiritual father, cautioned him or got him help. I wish I knew more about his upbringing. Maybe it would give us an insight into his mind and the circumstances he grew up in that led to all of this. Anyways, it's just a very sad situation and a sad case that should have been avoided. Barbara is gone and she will never come back. Those red flags we see in abusers should not be taken for granted. Please leave while you still can. On that note, if this is your kind of content, do well to subscribe and hit the notification button. Let me know what you think of this case in the comment section. Remember to be respectful to the families involved and to each other. Until next video, bye.